This is a free download of the FM104 Phone Show, Ireland's #1 late-night radio show with Adrian Kennedy.
Singer Lily Allen has spoken out publicly about the subject of abortion, urging men who are small-minded idiots to stop telling women whether or not they are entitled to abortions. In other words, it's none of a man's business. She said the day when the number of single-father households equals the number of single-mother households is the day I'll start listening to their views. So basically she's saying that men have no right to an opinion on the subject of abortion because they're not the ones who get pregnant, they're not the ones who have to go through the pregnancy, and they're not the ones who invariably end up rearing the child. And is she right? 6797104 is our telephone number. Fiona, you're on FM104. How are you, Fiona?
Hi, Adrian.
Well, Fiona, has a man a right to a say?
I've been on before about this. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't have a right to a say?
No, it's my body, it's my decision, it's my judgment. End of. If the man isn't interested, doesn't want to know, it's my call at the end. It's my call, it's my body. It's not his body. Whether I want to keep a baby or don't want to keep a baby. And that's just, and I don't, even if there was a vote in it, I think it should be a woman-only vote. Not a man, a woman only. Absolutely, 100%.
A female-only vote?
Yeah.
So if and when we ever have another referendum, you'd love to see it just down to women?
Yeah. It's not, listen, as far as I'm concerned, it's not anything to do with a man, what the woman does with her body, whether she keeps the child or she doesn't keep it. End of. That's how I feel about it. Even if they're in a relationship, it should come down at the end of the day to the woman's decision. That's just the way it should be.
Now, obviously, a lot of people aren't going to agree with that because...
Absolutely not, but I'm entitled to my opinion.
No, of course you are. But you feel that strongly about it. Firstly, if, let's say, a fella and a girl get together, she gets pregnant. And she's in college, she's just not able to have the child. And she decides to terminate the pregnancy and she tells him and he says, oh, no. You're saying he has no right to a say on a child that he has half created?
Well, if they didn't go out to create it in the first place, and it was a mistake, people make mistakes, and that one mistake could ruin that girl's career or her life. Do you know what I mean? It depends what she has or wants to do in her life and what she's focused on doing. No, I firmly, my heart has always been the same way about this decision. It should only be a woman's only decision.
And a man has no right to a say. No. He's no right to a say in a referendum. He's no right to a say, even if it's his own child.
No, I don't. When it's not born, I don't think they have a right. I just don't think they have a right. There's too many deadbeat mammies and too many deadbeat daddies out there. I'm not just saying on one, just it's all against the men. It's not. But my view is it's a woman's decision, and it should be taken by a woman. That's it.
End of story.
End of story. That is, and I'm very focused on that one. I would not even be swayed. Now, I'm going to get ridiculed and pulled apart for this, but that's how I feel. And I've always been very blinkered, and if anyone heard me talk about it before, I said the very same thing before about this. I really and truly believe it's a woman's decision and a woman's decision only. And that's it.
Okay, 6797104 is our telephone number. I'd love to hear from you on this. Basically what Fiona is saying is that men have absolutely no right to a say on the subject of abortion, let alone when it comes to a girl being pregnant with his child. He has no right to a say. Now, in actuality, there's not an awful lot a man can do to prevent a woman having a termination. There really isn't. I'd like to hear from you. 6797104 is our telephone number. Anthony, you're on FM104. How are you, Anthony?
How are you, Adrian?
Good, Anthony. There you go. Fiona's saying that men have no right to a say on this.
Obviously, I don't agree with her because that's the biggest load of bollocks ever. The man's the one that's making the baby as well. It's not only the girl, so clearly that he has a say on it as well. It's not only the girl that should get the decision.
And do you think a man should be able to stop a woman having an abortion?
Obviously, like, if he wants the baby, it's as much as the baby it is his than it is hers, do you get me? It's 50-50, like.
I mean, you can't make a baby without a man, exactly. Fiona.
Absolutely, unless you do a turkey baster. Other than that, yeah, you're right.
The only way I would agree with Adrian, if it happened on a one-night stand and the fella had sex with the girl and she ended up getting pregnant and the girl didn't know the man, that'd be the only way I would agree with it if she had an abortion then, you know what I mean?
And what about Fiona's point that if we were to have, which I'm sure we'd probably have again in the next couple of years, a referendum on abortion, she's basically saying that men shouldn't even be allowed to vote on it.
That's the biggest load of bollocks ever. The two of them, the man and the girl are the ones that have sex with each other. It's half. It should never just be a girl. Never.
Listen, it is a woman's body. It's not your body.
It's the man's penis going into the girl.
I'm quite aware. I have done biology. I have a child of my own. I know where they come from. As far as I'm concerned, at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, if it's a one-night stand, the fella's not going to want it anyway.
Yeah, no, that's the only way I'd agree with it, but you're there saying...
No, and the other point, and let me finish, the other point is, if a girl's at college or she's made a mistake, then she doesn't have to tell the man. She can just go off and do it. But if she gave him the courtesy of telling him, but that her decision was that she wanted, her pros and cons were that she done her pros and her cons, and she turned around and at the end of it still came up that she wasn't ready for this child, then there's nothing you can do.
Well, then she shouldn't be going around having sex without protection then.
Well, you don't put a sock on the end of it then, isn't it?
She's the one that's doing it as well. You can't always...
the old cliche. Yeah, but you prefer not having a sock on the end of it, but you don't mind making an unwanted baby. So, do you know what I mean?
I never said that. I never said that.
You're the third one that said put your penis in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did say that, but I put my penis in there with a condom if I didn't want a baby. That's what I'm saying.
But then we wouldn't be having this discussion about
exactly. So the girl should be making the man wear belly up with a condom if she doesn't want a baby.
Why should a woman always have to make the man? Why doesn't the man take a bit of responsibility for a change?
Obviously, if I didn't want a baby, that's what I do. I wear condoms.
Because you want to have a baby.
But here, let me read, Carl, Anthony, let me read this text from Carl. It says, that Anthony fella hasn't a clue. I'm a bloke and feel it's completely up to a woman. It's her body at the end of the day. Isn't that true, though?
Adrian, are you for real? The fellas are the ones that are having sex as well. If they're trying to, obviously you're talking about abortions, they're obviously not trying to make babies. But if it happens to happen, obviously the man gets a say on it. Definitely.
Okay, but the point that Lily Allen made in her rant about abortion was, she said, the day the number of single father households equals the number of single mother households is the day I'll start listening to their views. In other words, the point she's making is 9 times out of 10 it's the woman that's left holding the child.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so therefore, they must have a right to a greater say on this.
I wouldn't say a greater say, Adrian. It's as much as a say as it for a fella than it is a girl.
Adrian, listen, it's very glamorous for a man to say that the woman is pregnant and having his baby. But then after a while, when the nappies come and the bottle feeds and the sleepless nights, an awful lot of them piss off and leave the woman with the child. So, as it is, we're overrun with unmarried mothers. Do you know what I mean? And the fathers walk away, deadbeat dads.
Yeah, but that's only the majority of fathers. That's not bleeding every father.
Well, it's not a minority, it's a majority, exactly.
That's what I said, a majority.
And, I'm just saying exactly what you said. It's a majority, not a minority, that walk away. So why then is a girl going to lumber herself? If she wants to terminate, then let her terminate. She does not have to consult the father.
Okay, stay there for a second. Let me go to Richie. You're on FM104. How are you, Richie?
How you doing, laddie? Well?
Grand, thanks, Richie. Now, you think that Fiona's opinion is a horrible opinion to have?
Oh, I think it's a disgrace what she's saying. I think the other chap there, I didn't catch his name, he's hit it on the head. There's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of blokes out there who are sound. It's the life that you're talking about. Now, what she's talking about is, one-night stands, different set of rules altogether.
I'm talking about one-night stands.
That's what you were saying. You're one-night stands. But you're generalising the whole lot. You can't just take that decision away from a bloke. You're talking about a life here.
Exactly.
A father who wants to stand in and look after that baby.
What is your anatomy? What is your anatomy?
Disgrace. You are a disgrace.
What is your anatomy? What is your anatomy?
What do you mean, what's my anatomy?
Vagina, and have you got a womb?
No, but I got a head to look after a child.
You're not the one that has to go around and carry that child for 9 months. You're not the one that has to look after him.
Am I not the one that supported my wife there for the last 9 months and her last child? Am I not the one who helped her sleep?
And are married and have their kids and look after each other. That's fine.
You're generalising. You're tarring a whole lot of mankind against scroats out there.
Not
all of us are strong. Not all of us are
a majority. There is a minority out there.
Stop the majority. Just because you might have a few bad experiences in your life.
I don't
the majority out there, and the lads I work with, and the people I know are sound. They stand up, be counted, and they've looked after all their children. You are the
bully for you.
What you're saying.
Bully for you. Bully for you.
What do you mean bully for me?
Bully for you.
I'm talking about life. You're talking about the scaring of life. Just like that. Just for the hell of it. It's my decision because it's my body. Shut your face.
I won't shut my face. You shut your face.
Okay.
You muppet. You haven't a clue
Richie,
what you're talking about.
somebody sent us a tweet a second ago and it says, I agree with what's being said here. However, if marriage or long-term partnership is involved, I would agree that men have a say. Now, Fiona, what about that? If it's a marriage or a long-term partnership...
I agree with that.
You would agree?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
You're going back on what you said at the start of the conversation.
I mean, you did say earlier on men have no right to a say, full stop, end of story, ever, ever, ever.
I said to the basically the vote. That's what I feel. It's not a man's.
What about that point, Richie? That men have no right to even vote in a referendum on this subject?
You know, that doesn't even deserve an answer. What do you think? Do you know what I mean? That's a disgrace even to say that alone. Of course we do.
No, you don't.
Of course we do.
No, you don't.
No, we don't.
No, you don't.
Well, I'm going to get into this conversation. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You know what I mean?
And you're not going to change my opinion. You can say what you like about me. I don't care. But I'm telling you straight, my view is...
It's a disgrace what you're saying. It's an absolute disgrace. You're still talking about the life of a child. You're talking about men who want to bring up their kids. Decent men who look after their wives, their girlfriends. What you're saying is just a joke, it is. And I hope to God you're... And there's not other women out there who think like you.
Well, I'm sure there's quite a few actually, but they're probably not. They don't have the balls to stand up and be counted. That's why. They haven't got, they're afraid to air their opinion because of the likes of people like you that knock people down.
All right, let me go to Philip. You're on FM104. How are you, Philip?
Oh, yeah.
Philip, men have no right to a say on this matter, according to Fiona.
That's ridiculous, Adrian. That, you know what that is? That's a woman that's speaking with, like, that got done on her. I'd say a man left her and she's speaking from experience or something. So she's starting us all with the one brush. It's ridiculous.
Okay, I want to paint a scenario for you, Philip. Okay, fella and a girl, they go out on a couple of dates. They start having sex, and she gets pregnant. Okay, wasn't intended. It doesn't suit their life or whatever. And he, out of courtesy, she tells him, "How are you? I'm pregnant, but I can't have this baby. I'm going off to have an abortion." Now, has he a right, do you think, to say, "Oh no, you're not"?
Well, I think he does because it's part of him that's making it as well. That's his son or daughter, Adrian. Like, imagine how he feels. Like, he might want to keep that child.
But do they ever? That's the thing.
No, they don't.
Like, Adrian, most fathers would go to court with the mother for a baby, and most times the kid gets granted to the mother. That's why the majority of women are left with kids.
No, I do understand that, but the point that Lily Allen was making was that the day that the number of single father households equals the number of single mother households is the day she'll start listening. And I mean, she is right to say that, but if she, okay, hang on, if she, well, there are more single mother households than single father households. That's just a fact.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, if a woman gets pregnant accidentally with a guy that she's only known for a couple of weeks or a couple of months or whatever, and she decides this just isn't for me, has he any right, do you think, to say, no, you're not going to England? No, you're not.
Yeah, of course he does. It's part his, like. Well, like, what if she wanted to keep the baby and he didn't? Does he have a right? Does she have a right to keep the baby then?
Well, no, he's no right to force her to have an abortion.
Why doesn't? If he doesn't want her, if he's only seeing her a few weeks.
But sure, men do that every day, Philip. They up and run.
Yeah.
Every day of the week, men are doing that.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Don't be such a naive fool now. Men are doing that every day of the week. They get a girl pregnant and it's as if he never met her and he doesn't run her and he never sees her again.
Adrian, run a poll there. Do us a favour.
I spoke to a girl the other night on the programme who got pregnant, and she told him 6 weeks later, and within a month he was on a plane gone to Australia. Good luck. See you. Bye.
Yeah, but if that's the case, well, you have to put it down to these as well, Adrian. You should make the fella wear protection. If they're thinking about getting rid of a child, they should wear protection.
But why doesn't the fella just put it on automatically? Why doesn't the fella just put it on automatically? Why is it always got to be left up to the woman to make the man do it? Why should a woman, if a man wants to have good sex with a woman, then he should put something on the end of it?
No, it's going into you, so you're the one who should think about it.
Now, hold on a minute. And what about diseases and other things that go? You're supposed to wear a condom if you're having unprotected sex. And then if you're in a relationship, that's a different scenario. That's up to the two individuals. But if you're having one-night stands or casual sex, then you should be wearing a condom.
No argument there. I don't think anybody would argue with that. But, Fiona, can you not hear the point that some blokes are making here? That if a girl gets pregnant and she decides she doesn't want it, but he says, well, I actually want it. It's my child. I want it.
Yeah,
has he no right to a say in this?
Hold on. Is she absolutely 100% guaranteed that he's going to stand by her and he's not going to get pissed off in 6 months?
No, not necessarily stand by her, but take the child.
But what happens in 6 months when it gets too much for him and he decides, oh, I can't do this anymore? Do you know what I mean? And then it's pushed back on her and she didn't want it in the first place. So there's resentment going to build up there anyway.
So you think she has a right without his consent?
Absolutely.
To decide, right, I'm off, I'm finished.
She's just bitter towards the whole situation.
It's her final
That happened to her.
It's her final decision. It's not a man's decision, it's her final decision.
It is not.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
No way is it.
All right, so is it my final decision when you decide you want to have a vasectomy and I turn around and say, no, I don't want you to have a vasectomy, but you said, no, I've had enough kids and that's the end of it, I'm going to have it done?
If you didn't want it, you wouldn't have to. What you're trying to say now is woman. Sex on people. You're trying to say everyone's going around like Larry Murphy or something.
You're not a woman. You're not a woman. You're not a woman.
So if a man...
You're not a woman.
The woman doesn't have the saying a man just goes ahead and does it.
A woman goes through what she goes through pregnancy for 9 months. It is the most upheaval time of a woman's life. So don't you turn around and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking to me.
You're talking out your arse, you thick bitch.
And you're a thick fucking idiot, you know that?
A lot of things can happen with a woman's body that doesn't happen to a man's body. Like you can't put that into the one statement, but when it comes to pregnancy, that's a life. Like, abortion is murder. So to me, I think a man, if she knows who the father is, if it's a long-term relationship, she should be able to say, he should be able to say what she does. Because I know one particular person who had 2 kids. The father was the same father to the 2 kids. She got pregnant again and decided, oh, listen, I won't be able to handle this child. She went off, had an abortion in England, and turned around a year later, had another child.
No, that's awful, yeah.
That was completely wrong. Like, I didn't agree with that at all when I heard the story, but I think...
And we've all heard, loads of us have heard stories of abortions that just weren't right and whatever, regardless of your opinion on terminating pregnancy. But the question that we're asking is, has a man a right to a say over the subject of abortion? Over the subject? I mean, even when it comes to voting.
There was one particular topic you had on, Adrian, one night about single parents, and there was one girl who did not want her son, and the father of that child wanted the son. He was a mechanic at the time when he had rang into your radio show. He took that child off her and reared him single-handed while he was going to work every day. And I'll never forget, a couple of callers rang in and actually slated him for taking that child, which I thought was completely wrong.
Yeah, and I kind of remember that myself. Yeah.
And, I thought I gave him hats off 100%. He was dead right. He wanted that child. He was giving him a stable home, a roof over his head. He wanted to work and keep that child. That guy was dead right to take that child because she didn't want him. What would have happened to that child to this day if he hadn't taken him off her? What would she have done to that child, or what would have happened to him, or who would have had him if his father hadn't taken him? Do you know what I mean? So, like, in most cases, I think fathers should have a right to know what's happened to their kids. Because there is a lot of fathers out there that do want their kids, but there is a lot of girls...
No, and I agree with all of that as well. I do agree with all... Judy, you still there?
Who will not let the fathers see them because they want to be bitches.
I know. I've witnessed that myself. I've seen it myself. I've spoken to people myself who've been the victim of that. But the question that we're asking, and I'll read out that text that came in a while ago. No man has a right to control a woman's body ever. And that basically is what this conversation is about.
Well, in 90% of cases they don't, but when it comes to abortion, I think it's 50-50, because when it comes to the bedroom, that's 50-50. That's between a girl and a fella, and they know what's going to happen in a bedroom. So I think it's 50-50. Like, because I wasn't with my partner that long. I'm with him now 11 years later. But at the time when I met him first, we were about a week together and we decided, here, we'll hit the bedroom, whatever. But I said to him, listen, I was using protection. I said, have you got anything? He said, yeah. And both of us used protection. But we had the cop on to ask each other before anything happened, because we knew what would have happened down the road if we didn't use anything. So I think it comes down to couples themselves that should actually ask each other if Annie is using protection or who has protection to use. Because at this day and age, you all know what's going to happen and what's not going to happen and what you should and shouldn't use.
Okay, Mark, you're on FM104. How are you, Mark?
How you doing, Adrian?
Grand, thank you, Mark. Now, it's Jude you were annoyed at.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to this show. I came in a bit late to this debate, actually, you know. Now,
the question that we're asking is, Lily Allen today said... Yeah, you got the gist of it, okay.
I heard the Jude statement. I mean, I don't wonder has Jude got ant between his ears at all, you know, and I usually come to the conclusion he probably hasn't. And if I was any doubt about it, tonight he definitely confirmed he bloody has got, he's got all between his ears. If you know ranting there about body, you know, women having total control over their own bodies, and once it's their body, they have total right to do what they want. I mean, I don't really think the whole thing borders on anything like that. As soon as a human being has another body in their body, which is women, automatically, and by the very, very token that they're responsible for another being, they relinquish any right whatsoever to get rid of that, because you cannot violate the sanctity or sacredness of human life or a human being. And you've only got to...
Okay, but and that's fine, and that's your opinion on abortion. Some people agree with you, other people don't, okay? Some people believe that it is a woman's right to terminate a pregnancy if she wants to. Now, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that. The question is, has a man a right to a say on this matter? That basically what is being said here is that this is a matter for women only.
Well, it's the same situation. I mean, how could you even enter the debate by the contention that, if a woman can make herself pregnant without the aid of a man, well, then, of course, the whole thing would be legitimate. But the fact that a man is partaking of the thing, it takes a male and female, it takes two parents to rear them. One cannot produce without the other. There's no such thing. There's not even a contention. Of course, a man has as much right to debate or to have control over that person's life, considering that 50% of the outcome of his own input into the bloody situation in the first place. It's as simple as that. There's no debate whatsoever about it. I mean,
well, there you are, Jude. There is no debate on this at all. It is a 50-50 thing.
I mean, people are debating on the basis that a woman could go and make herself pregnant. A woman needs...
Hang on, let Jude respond. Go on, Jude.
First of all, it's not men that give birth, it's women. So women are giving birth, not men. And if a woman wants to have an abortion, regardless of what a man thinks, what can a man do to stop her? You can't physically make a woman give birth. No matter how much you might want the child, if the woman wants to get rid of that child, what are you going to do to stop her? If she wants to, she can do what she wants, because obviously she doesn't have yours, maybe your...
Oh, that's right, Jude. It's not a question of what I can do to stop her. I mean, if I was going out with a girl I don't think I've ever been in that situation, and she wanted to have an abortion and I said no, and she wanted to go ahead and do it. There's nothing personally that I can do to restrict her, but that doesn't necessarily make it right. There's laws there always has been laws in the state, but to stop people who maybe might do something silly like that, to prevent them doing it, and that's why them laws are there, and I would totally agree with them laws. It's as simple as that.
And then why is there so many people taking a trip over to England? Those laws they don't operate just here, like they don't operate outside the Irish jurisdiction. Why do you think so many girls or women go over to England to have abortions, or go over to other countries to have abortions?
Because they've decided to take it upon themselves. They haven't a bloody clue what they're doing half the time. Have you ever read the amount of people later on in life, and I've read this myself, years later, women who have had abortions, I've read this quite a lot over the years, and a lot of them have regretted it so much so that it's caused them major mental problems and major traumas in their lives later on. And a lot of them, I don't know about all of them because I have never spoke to all of them, but a lot of them have said it's probably the most saddest and the sorriest thing they ever done, because they were young, they were full of fear, they felt spontaneous, they were a little bit irresponsible. It's a bigger subject. It's just not simple enough to say that a woman can do it and no one's going to stop her. That's a silly and naive.
But I mean, he is right in what he's saying. If a woman wants to do it, there is nothing you can do to stop her.
There's nothing you can do, but it doesn't make it right.
And why did you said a very stupid thing there, right? You said, most of them that go over, they don't know what they're doing. They're stupid. They don't know what they're doing.
Stupid. I said they're probably, a lot of them can be irresponsible. And a lot of them are quite young and quite spontaneous. And a lot of them are doing it out of fear. And, they don't know what they're doing. And I do stand by that.
Abortions, and they knew what they were doing. Lots of women know what they're doing. Not every woman who has an abortion is doing it out of stupidity. They're doing it for their own reasons, regardless of what they are. But they're entitled, no matter what their reason are, they're entitled to have an abortion if they want, no matter what reason.
They're not entitled to do it if they're taking another life. It's as simple as that, Jude.
No. Now that's we're talking morals.
Yeah, now we are getting into the whole morals of abortion. The question, though, is if a woman is considering a termination, does a man have a right to an opinion on it or a say on the matter? Emma, you're on FM104. How are you, Emma?
Jude is totally wrong, because at the end of the day, like, if his missus got pregnant, would he have the right, like, to say, yeah, go ahead, love, like, go and get an abortion, or would he be like, I want my own opinion on this, you know what I mean?
Well, Jude,
if my wife wanted to have an abortion, that's what she wanted.
She didn't tell you, though. She didn't tell you. Like, would you feel like, is it like something got to do with me, or would I have stopped her? Like, at the end of the day, that's your child. That's your child.
Knowing or not knowing.
That's your child. That's your child at the end of the day. Like, at the end of the day, women lie on their back. They know the consequences, what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? If they're not on any contraception.
An abortion, they're dealing with the consequences. They're dealing with the consequences. If a woman wants to...
I don't over tingling. Getting an abortion is the right thing. It's not. That's hiding from everything about them.
It's wrong. Where is it from other people's point of view it's wrong, or from other people's point of view it's right?
Because at the end of the day, it's not legal in this country. Why wouldn't over tingling and do it? Do you know what I mean?
It's legal over there. You can't do it in this country because it's illegal.
No, you can't, because it's wrong. It's the child you're killing at the end of the day.
No, it's not a child, it's a fetus.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
Again, we're getting into the debate about abortion. My question is, Emma, have men a right to a say on this matter?
100%, because at the end of the day...
So, okay, a girl gets pregnant from not even a one-night stand. She might be with him a couple of weeks or a couple of months, yeah? But she just doesn't want to have the baby, okay?
He should still have the right. It doesn't matter.
Still have the right to what?
Yeah.
Still have the right to what?
Like, at the end of the day, I want that child...
And what? Have the right to stop her leaving the country?
Yeah, he should go to Dolphin House and fight for that. Like, fight for it.
But those cases could take years. No, it doesn't
matter. He shouldn't get what fellas come stand there and let a woman go over tingling and kill his child. I don't think so, because at the end of the day it's wrong.
It's illegal to restrict someone's travel. It's illegal. It's against their human rights. It's illegal.
And that's the thing, Emma. What realistically could you possibly do? If a woman gets pregnant, he says, I want to have the child, she says, no, I'm having an abortion. I mean, what's he going to do? Stand at the airport and block her going onto the plane?
I don't know, but...
Do you know what I mean? And no...
So tell us what you do. You're the one who said it's wrong, but yet you said you don't know.
No law is going to stop that.
No, because I wouldn't do it. I would never...
No, that's fine if you wouldn't.
But you shouldn't be judging others by your standards.
Women shouldn't do it. Women shouldn't go and kill. Like, they were lying on their back. They knew that was going to happen. Like, if you wasn't on anything.
Not everyone thinks like that. Not everyone thinks
they should.
That doesn't make it right.
It doesn't matter. They should.
I mean, everyone should think the way you think. Everyone should.
Not think the way I think, but they should think if they're going to lie and have sex, they should be on something. And this wouldn't happen.
So that means but that means they should think the way you think then.
No, it's not me. It's like what should be like happen. Instead of running over to England, they should use contraception. Just one minute.
Well, regardless how they got pregnant, whether they used it or not, regardless, they still have the right to have that option. They still have the right to have the baby or not to have it. Like, if they want to have the baby, that's great, but they also have the right not to have the baby.
Okay, let me bring in another couple of calls on this. David, you're on FM104. David, how are you?
Yeah, thanks, Adrian.
Grand, David. What did you want to say on this?
Well, I think, like, if it's a rape, well, then the woman should have the full say, obviously.
Well, yes. I mean, how bizarre would it be for a rapist to say, you're not aborting my child?
No, I don't. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean like that. Like, but I mean, like, if consensual sex takes place, well, then the man should obviously have a right in the say. You know, the kind of way.
A right and a say to what? To stop her leaving the country?
Well, to say, look, the child should be born. Don't.
Okay, and she says, "Well, no, I'm going off to terminate the pregnancy." Realistically, what can he do?
Well, he can try and change the law.
Well, maybe that's something that does need to be considered if we were to have a referendum in the future.
Adrian, what about the man's mental health? The woman turns up, says, "I'm pregnant. I'm 2 months pregnant. I'm going off to the UK to abort the child." The man's left standing there thinking, "That's my child as well." You know what I mean?
And if the woman could have mental health problems if she had the child, what about the woman's mental health? Remember, she's the one who's giving birth to it. A man is not giving birth.
Say that again, please, Jude.
It's what about a woman's mental health? A woman might not want to have the baby. She could have mental health problems after giving birth to the baby.
That's what counsellors are for. That's what people are paid to look after people like that.
But then why can't a man go into counselling and she go off and have the abortion then?
You're being silly now. Look,
you brought it up. You mentioned this. You brought it up.
Yeah, but he's the one that has less of a say. You know, she's the one that's holding all the cards. You know what I mean?
She's the one who's going to get. She's the one who has to give birth. If she doesn't want to give birth, why should she have to? It's her body going to.
Look at it this way, Jude. Her mother did not deny her, so why should she deny a man?
Well, if her mother did deny her, she wouldn't have existed. So I doubt.
Exactly. So she should appreciate that her mother did not deny her, and her father took part in that. So why shouldn't?
Everyone has different opinions on it. If it's her opinion that she doesn't want to have the child.
You know, I'm right in that sense.
Okay, and one last call on this. Stephen, you're on FM104. How are you, Stephen?
How are you doing?
Good, Stephen. You also believe that a man should definitely have a say in this. How far does that say go, Stephen, realistically?
It's hard to say how far to go, but I have to say I'd never call into a show like this, but I'm disgusted because I've never been in a situation where a partner of mine has gone off and had an abortion or has even gotten pregnant, but I'm coming at it from a very different perspective in that I'm adopted and my mother was 16 when she got pregnant and she put me up for adoption and I've never met my mother. Now, all of that being said, that obviously puts me in a place where I feel a little biased, and I just think it's terrible to think that there are children out there that could have been born into the world that weren't born into the world. You know, I mean, I know a number of girls, friends of mine who've had abortions, some of them who just terribly regret it, and then other people who, you know, they've just gotten on with it. But it does definitely, as the other guy was saying there, it does affect your mental health on both sides. But whatever, if I got into a situation, whether it was, not that I have a one-night stand, but if it was a girl that I've been seeing and she got pregnant by whatever case, I would do whatever I have to do to make sure that she didn't have an abortion, whatever I have to do. Because at the end of the day, that is my child as well. And even if she wanted to go through full term, have the child and never have anything to do with it again, that's a difficult thing to do, and I doubt she would. But if she wanted to go full term, then fine. I'd hold my hands up and say, do you know what? I look after the child. I take full responsibility. If you want to run off,
I know, but that's easier said than done. And I think a lot of men have probably said that, but then don't come through.
I totally agree with you, and it's unfortunate that that's the society we're living in. That there's a lot of deadbeat fathers around there who never show up. But on the same time, I wouldn't be talking to you tonight if my mother decided to abort me when she was 16. And that really just affects me because I know full well I've got so many friends who are trying to get pregnant now, can't get pregnant, can't have children, can't adopt because there are no children to adopt. And it's the very thought of a woman going and aborting a child, that there is hundreds of married parents out there desperate to have children, and yet we've got last year 4,194 women who went to the UK from Ireland and had abortions. And last year, I have no idea how many people went through IVF and never had children.
Can I ask you, Stephen, and obviously you're coming at it from a completely different angle.
Sure.
Have you any understanding for women who terminate pregnancies? For women in crisis pregnancy situations?
Absolutely, I do. And you know what? There's 3 friends of mine, one who actually had 2 abortions. She's now married and she can't have children as a result of those 2 abortions because she ended up in a situation with a one-night stand. and another guy who just turned into being really abusive, and after she got pregnant she terminated it. And she is destroyed mentally, absolutely destroyed. She doesn't function properly, she's depressed like nobody I know, and it has just had such an effect.
But have you an understanding for where she was at that point in her life?
Absolutely I do. But I now know that her, in 2020 hindsight, like we always say, she goes back and she just said, I wish I had never done that. I really do. For two reasons. One, she doesn't know what that child would have been like. She doesn't know what that would have done for her life. And then two, now she's stuck in a situation where after those two abortions, she can't have a child and she desperately wants to with a loving partner. So I do understand it's a difficult situation. I'm not taking that away from any woman, that it is a very, very hard situation. And I'd be shocked myself if she turned around.
Okay, back to the point of our conversation tonight. Sure. Quite clearly you believe men have every right to a say.
Absolutely. And categorically, if I found out that a girl that I was with was pregnant and she was planning on having an abortion, I don't know what the legal options are for any man.
Unfortunately, there are none, because we have a right to travel in this country. It's enshrined in our constitution, and there would be absolutely nothing you could do to stop her travelling to England. Nothing.
Well, I'd be at the airport booking the flight, going the same time. I'd be waiting at the abortion clinic, whatever the case is. Absolutely, to the very, very end.
Nice to talk to you, Stephen. Thanks very much for telling us your story.
No problem, Adrian.